Hi guys, today is the 10th of June 2019 at 22 minutes past 5 in the morning over here in the UK, and I just want to quickly get into the reports that we've got coming out. Iran unveils a new air defense system as it warns Europe to normalize ties. An increasingly isolated Iran unveiled a new domestically produced air defense system on Sunday, hours after urging European countries to uphold commitments made under the nuclear deal or face the consequences. The new system, the Cordad-15, can trace 6 targets at the same time, including fighter jets, bombers, and drones, and destroy them with missiles. Obviously, this is a direct warning to the USS Abraham Lincoln. Iran will increase its military capabilities to protect its national security and interests, and will not ask permission from anyone on this matter, said Defense Minister Amir Hatami at the unveiling. With the 2015 deal unraveling quickly and relations with the US increasingly frosty, Iran is scrambling to showcase its strength even as it lurches toward potential financial ruin. Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif was speaking in advance of a visit from his German counterpart, Heiko Maas. Mr. Zarif said Europeans have a duty to ensure that Iran's economic relations return to normal. He criticized European and Western policies as having only caused damage in the region and warned that Europeans are not in a position to criticize Iran for issues outside the JCPOA using the acronym for the nuclear deal. Now, some countries like Germany have stopped selling arms to Saudi Arabia for bombarding the people of Yemen. Some other countries haven't done so. In general, the West has allowed the autocratic regimes in our region, to commit crimes. The tough talk follows a move by Hassan Rouhani, the Iranian president, to walk back from various commitments in the deal last month. In early May, he gave Europe and China a 60-day timeline to challenge the US position or risk Iran resuming enriching uranium to a higher degree than that permitted by the accord. Iran on Friday rejected a suggestion by France to reopen nuclear talks, citing an increased risk of total collapse should the existing agreement be broadened. And obviously, in relation to the enriching uranium, it's believed that Iran is going ahead and doing that. Obviously, they've released news that they are enriching uranium further. They say below the threshold specified in the Iran nuclear deal, but there's no verification of that. The purpose of Mr. Mas's visit to Iran is to explore different means of preserving the fraying nuclear non-proliferation pact. Such a diplomatic coup would offer Iran an economic lifeline and give the deal's Western signatories a mechanism for ensuring Iran's ballistic mission development is kept under control and potentially curb its regional military adventures. Iran has long insisted its nuclear activities are peaceful, even as it refuses to discuss its missile program. So there we have Iran unveiling a new air defense system. The USS Abraham Lincoln is in the region. Israel is obviously prepared to go to war with Iran. There's a lot of talk from people like John Bolton pushing war with Iran. And my theory is that they would like another 9/11 style event, something that they can blame on Iran so they can go to war with them. And I've been looking out for an event in the UK, some form of explosion to do with the underground. I have various underground stations in mind. There's different monuments like the Tower of London, Big Ben, royal places like Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle. Lots of different places in London where I think events like that could go down. The Israeli embassy is another place. So when I get reports like this, pro-Iran radicals found stockpiling explosives in secret London bomb factory. It just makes me think they are really putting that subliminal messaging into the minds of the British people, to make it easier if an event does take place in the UK to blame it on Iran, especially if past news reports have things like pro-Iranian radicals stockpiling explosives in a secret London bomb factory. So I'll just read a bit of the report. Terrorists linked to Iran were caught stockpiling tons of explosive materials on the outskirts of London in a secret British bomb factory. Radicals linked to Hezbollah stashed thousands of disposable ice packs containing ammonium nitrate, a common ingredient in homemade bombs. One well-placed source described the plot as proper organized terrorism, while another said enough explosive materials were stored to do a lot of damage. 3 metric tons of ammonium nitrate have been discovered. This is more than was used in the Oklahoma City bombing that killed 168 people and damaged hundreds of buildings. The bomb factory was discovered just months after the UK signed up to the Iran nuclear deal. Well, that's a couple of years ago. When's this report from? It is from 2019, so why are we hearing about it now? It raises questions about whether senior UK government figures chose not to reveal the plot in part because they were invested in keeping the Iran nuclear deal afloat, I see. For years, this nefarious activity has been kept hidden from the public. It had also been hidden from MPs who were debating whether to fully ban Hezbollah. The plot was uncovered by MI5 and the Metropolitan Police in the autumn of 2015. Police raided 4 properties in northwest London, consisting of 3 businesses and a home. A man in his 40s was arrested on suspicion of plotting terrorism. The man was eventually released without charge. Sources told the paper the plot had been disrupted by a covert intelligence operation rather than seeking a prosecution. The discovery was so serious that David Cameron and Theresa May, the then Prime Minister, she's still in power, but she has stepped down until a new Prime Minister can be appointed. She still has power. And the Home Secretary were personally briefed on what had been found. Hezbollah was only added to the banned terrorist group list in its entirety in February 2019, more than 3 years after the plot was uncovered. It's, as I said, why are they releasing it now? This happened in 2015. Obviously, there's disclosures of classified materials all the time, but as I say, this is just a step towards blaming Iran for something if something does happen. So put a little cautionary warning on that. When these things are going to happen, I don't know, but obviously I have in this month, June 12th, June 13th, June 16th on watch, June 25th as well, as that's around the time where Jared Kushner was going to be having some meetings around the peace deal. I'm not sure if that's still going to be going forward. Obviously, Israel is having to go for another election in September. September 17th is when that's happening. And also, I think one of the foreign ministers for the United States and Israel was caught saying that Israel can annex the West Bank, which has obviously angered the Palestinians, and the Palestinians would have to sign on to any peace deal. So that's just throwing it down the road a little bit more. But still, June 25th may be significant as well, so just keep a marker on that. China is concerned after Taiwan confirms US arms purchase request. So China has expressed serious concern about Taiwan confirmed a request. China has expressed serious concern after Taiwan confirmed a request to purchase more than 100 tanks, as well as air defense and anti-tank missile systems from the United States. The confirmation on Thursday by Taiwan's defense ministry came after reports said the US would soon give the green light to sales of tanks and weapons to Taiwan worth more than $2 billion. In a statement, the ministry said it had submitted a letter of request for 108 M182 Abrams, might be another Abraham Lincoln reference, Abrams tanks, 1,240 TOW anti-armor missiles, 409 Javelin anti-tank missiles, and 250 Stinger Man portable air defense systems. The request was proceeding as normal, it said. It was not clear when the official request had been issued, after which the US has 120 days to respond. So let's just assume we're getting this report on June 6th, so let's assume that the request was made within the month of May. If we're generous and say the 1st of May, 120 days would be 4 months. So that would bring us to September, around the time where any sale of these tanks, if agreed, would be agreed. So that does bring it into that time frame, August, September, October, November, December, the last half of the year where there are numerous dates on watch. But with the South China Sea, the trade war, it's a lot of tension points with China. And if I think this would be the tipping point for them, the trade war, they can go not really tit for tat, but they can, if they dig into rare earth materials, then they can, fight back in that way. But with Taiwan, I think that's a little bit more serious. Recognizing them as their own country is one thing, but then selling a whole bunch of military equipment that could be used in defense against China is another thing. And I think that is when we would see China coming forward. As we see in the IPEC Go-To video, the whole tank scene, I think that's all connected together. Nuclear disaster fears after 550 cracks found in walls of a UK power plant which is set to reopen. Let's get down to the good stuff. After more than 350 cracks were discovered in the reactor's graphite core, a detailed investigation was carried out. This found new keyway root cracks in the graphite blocks. A further 200 cracks were found in reactor 4. Despite this, the 2 Hunterston reactors are currently scheduled to return to service at the end of this month. Experts have warned it risks contaminating Glasgow and Edinburgh, which is in Scotland, the north of England, with radiation and force a mass evacuation. Dr. Ian Farley, a independent consultant on radioactivity in the environment, and Dr. David Toke, reader in energy policy at the University of Aberdeen, said the power station must not be restarted. They said the vital issue is that the current unstable state of the graphite moderator cores increases the possibility of a major nuclear incident. So, I mean, the UK is health and safety all over the place. So I would expect that with warnings such as these coming from experts in their field, that this power plant would be prevented from opening at the end of the month. However, if they really want to, and the powers that be want them to, then it will reopen. And I don't expect as soon as the reactor starts up, a massive explosion would take place. But it would be a ticking time bomb in that sense. Something that you'd have to constantly keep your eyes on, just in case one of the days it decided to go into a nuclear meltdown. Interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Obviously, if it does restart at the end of the month, then like I said, it would have to be an everyday watch on this power plant to remain aware of its existence and its potential to cause catastrophe. The last report is North Korea showing signs of activity at the Iranian plant. It's not new news, it's just continuing news, which is that North Korea is still producing nuclear material, most likely at weapons grade. So when we see all these reports of satellite imagery picking up movements and different equipments being brought into the area, it reinforces the theory that North Korea do not intend to denuclearize. I think we've been there and we've done that. I think that's pretty much over now. And at some point in the future, in my interpretations, within this year, they will have their launch. My big months looking at for North Korea launches are August and December, especially December, because they basically said to the United States that you have until the end of the year to basically come up with something in reference to the peace deal. Things are taking a massive step backwards, so it's unlikely that something is going to spring up in the next couple of months, though, I hold out hope and prayer that it does and things wind down. as I said, until the end of the year. So that will be December 31st. Plenty of interpretations connected to that time. So we'll keep watch. You guys, that's the end of the reports I've got for you. Obviously, as more come up, I will report them. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.